Hello, everyone. We're still doing Spider Fingers. We're no longer on season one, but we're still doing Spider Fingers. Welcome back, everyone, to season two of Therosian Odyssey. We're all really, really excited to be back. I hope. Really excited to be here. I'm gonna really quickly run through some. It's not like big safety stuff, but I guess I'll just remind everyone that we take safety very seriously here. So if you find yourself having any issues with any of the stuff that comes up, which I don't imagine that anyone will, it's going to be a really chilled out session, I hope. But if you do, please feel free to step away. As both audience and cast members, you feel empowered to do so. I don't want anyone feeling uncomfortable or unsafe during the stream. And yeah, just I guess really echoes sentiment that we're all really happy to be back and moving on to season two after such a dramatic season one. I will start, I think, by briefly going round to everyone and getting them to introduce themselves and tell the audience, for those that may be new to Therosian Odyssey, what character they're playing. Doesn't have to be a big description, just a little bit about their character. And then we will go from there. So I will start with Jen.
Oh my, okay, hello, sorry, hi guys. Hi, I'm Jen. I will be playing your friendly local Estrella. She is a half-elf wizard who is at the moment having a time of it. What with this abub, hello Dawsington, having a time of it with her mentor Cassian, and his cranky dad, and also Uncle Alex. Did you say a description too, Kat? Did you say a description as well?
I said it doesn't have to be a big description, but just kind of generally the vibe of the character, I guess.
Great.
And how
Also,
feeling.
Darcy, I fucking see you. General vibe is absolute nerd, very sassy, dark-haired, relatively small frame, and will die if she gets too many paper cuts. And that's me.
Can confirm. All right, let's move on to Joan.
I'm Joan. I'm playing Onyx, and Onyx has two mommies. Also, she's an Azamar paladin of Nilia, and I can't remember if I said she had black skin or purple skin, but one of those two. Let's just pretend that it's like
Purple.
iridescent and kind of phase shifts. It's Durkle. You're right. It's Durkle. How could I forget that? Yeah. She's fun, also kind of intimidating. Next.
Kind of intimidating. That works as a description. Cool. I guess we will move on to Kumi.
Hello, I'm Kumi, and I'm playing Kaluka Killsong, the Barbarian. Now, last season, Kaluka, she does a little bit of running away from home, you know. She's just like, I don't want to fight in this gladiator ring anymore. This is very boring. All I do every day is training. All I want to do is sing. Not actually sing, but I want to sing with my bagpipes. So she takes her bagpipes and goes away, like searching for journey. Goes to the gladiator ring where unfortunately not anything great happens, but this one day, suddenly a lion appears and she finds her greatest friends ever. We've only spent one day together, but what a day it was last season. And by the end of it, Kalika has realized that, you know what? A lot of fascinating things happen with these people. And the best part is now that she has friends, she can finally face Papa again, who she didn't say bye-bye to before she left. So she's not really looking forward to that, but she gets to hug all her siblings. So she's happy. She also has with her the cutest little itty-bitty rabbit by the name of Caillou. Now, little Caillou has this beautiful black fur, and right in the middle of her head, she has this long pointy horn. Caillou likes to dance and sing and judge Kalyuka multiple times. It's not been always the best experience, but she loves little Caillou, and Caillou is the greatest to calm down her rage. So that's what Kalyuka's like.
In case it wasn't obvious, Kalyuka's the talkative bard. Okay, let us move on to, I believe it might be Lindsay next. Lindsay.
Hello, everyone. Excuse my coughing. I'm getting over being sick, but it's fine. It's great. We're here. It's wonderful. Welcome to season 2. I play your lovely little Kenku, not a thief, not a rogue. I'm a little Gloomstalker Ranger. Eva is about 4 foot tall, cloaked in shadows, but really a heart of gold, where, you know, her favorite thing about the last couple of days is she actually has friends now. So that's what ties her into this group, is the excitement of new things, new people, new adventures. She loves secrets, she loves knowledge. So this is where she thrives to be. So that's why she keeps hanging out with all of these nerds. Wonderful.
All right. And last but certainly not least, last in the alphabet anyway, let's go with Lulu.
Oh, hi, I'm Lulu. I will be playing Callista, the party's runaway cleric, who actually is part rogue. Not nearly as good as she thinks she is. She's very convinced that she's like going to be the best rogue ever. She had a lot of success last season picking locks. We'll see what happens this season. But she's really excited to get on the sea because she's been dreaming about it her entire life. She is part Triton anyway. She's very short, has long black, almost blue hair, and her skin is just slightly, has a blue kind of pearlescent tinge to it. And we'll see how she does if she actually does get out on the sea. But that's Callista.
All right. Oh, it's so good listening to you all talk about your characters again. I've missed them all so much. Cool. Well, I guess we will go straight into it, if that is okay by everyone. Okay, so we once again find ourselves in Theros, having seemingly solved a mystery within the forest city of Setessa, and having ended our first story. If you are just joining us now, I shall let our heroines retell the tale of what happened soon. But we won't focus on the party, now hailed as heroes, just bedding down mere hours after the revelations of their first adventure together. We won't focus on the Weaver and the Smith, now freshly reunited and oh so grateful to be each other's once more. Let's not talk for now of the rather beaten and bruised general reaching for a small piece of paper beneath his pillow and reading it again and again as he struggles to process what his life will be now with so much change. We shan't even turn to the lady with the long blonde hair, mixing her former maid's ashes into a paste and smoothing over the cracks of her ghastly stone monument. Instead, we shall start in the place where the story of these lives are often watched and judged from afar, the Nyx. This story begins with a gathering. Divine beings that are worshipped as deities by the people below have come together because the antics of our party have caused a stir within the cosmos. Nilia joins this gathering in all of her force and fury. She demands to know which deity is responsible for the abduction of her people and the interference of her worship. As she accuses Phoenix for his role in her beloved Arasta's fate, the wound of grief freshly reopened, the trees and flowers groan with shared despair. As she howls at Farrakha for meddling with her people, with her vile experiments, the wolves howl and screech alongside her. And as she screams at her sister, Karametra, for wanting Setessa all to herself, the birds shriek, the snakes hiss, and the rocks tremble. Her accusations become wilder and wilder, whipping the others into a frenzied argument. Keranos's eyes flash dangerously, and the skies fill with dark, menacing clouds. Thassa is slighted, and the waves below toss and turn with her wrath. The gods, like humans, are prone to quarrels and disagreements. Theros and the Siren Sea are racked by an unforgiving storm that night as consequence. Only one thing quiets them. Having had enough, both Krufix and Clothis stand, and Krufix raises his fingers to his lips, instantly silencing them all. Clothis berates them for their petty squabbling and selfish ideals. She reminds them of their charge, Theros' safety and stability. Then Krufix speaks, something he is rarely seen to do. And his voice is both the quietest whisper and the loudest shout at once. I do not wish to silence us all, as I did once before. I acknowledge that it almost cost us and Theros everything. But I will, if you endanger the people below any more. We will find the culprit that spreads discord among us, and they shall be dealt with. For now, though, look to your charges and reward them for their victory. And, cowed by this threat, the gods do. One finds their passionate anger turns to delight as she blesses her champion, sending her dreams of wildflowers and peace and happiness with her once more reunited family. One looks fondly upon his champion and heartily begs another to aid with a creative spark in her rewards. One raises an eyebrow and smiles fondly at his charge, lending her some of his power and insight in the coming battles. Another only gives a brief flicker of a smile before lending aid to her chosen oracle's visions and foresight. And finally, Krufix stirs the dreams of his devoted bird and whispers, the gods have given their gifts, and I will give mine. All will be apparent when you wake. One of my gifts is a secret. I hope you like it, if you can find it. And following from that, a couple of weeks pass. You spend time in Setessa, Onyx, I'm sure you spend time with your family. Mostly it is clearing up and preparing to leave. Alexander Krios has sent word ahead to Akros and has received a rather quick reply in which the regent, Taranika Krios, has requested all of your presence back in Akros. She would like to speak to all of you and hear the story from your own mouths. And so you have all set on your way back to Akros for all of you. Some with a little more trepidation than others, I'm sure. So you are now arriving towards the gates, and the picture that is currently up, you can see, is of that great big statue. It is one of Akros's defining features, is the Colossus of Akros, it is called. And it reminds you, Onyx, of the first time you stepped through the gates and you kind of were looking up at it and you were stopped by the guards, because it is rather large. And as you kind of move towards the gates, Alexander Krios kind of turns to you all and says, well, we are almost there. We will have to go to see the regent right away. And he kind of straightens up. Is there anything anyone wanted to discuss or talk about as you're kind of arriving into Akros?
Is there anything that we want to hold back out of earshot of Uncle Alex, obviously? Is there anything that we want to hold back about anything that we've discovered?
Onyx is wishing that someone had invented cell phones so that she could be constantly checking up on her moms. Because she's just waiting for one of them to, like, I don't know, like, mystically fall into a thing and get kidnapped or something.
Should we have purchased maybe sending stones before we left?
Sending stones? You could have done, yeah. Do you have any, Onyx, do you have any gold to your name?
I don't know. Let me check.
Did we get a reward?
Yeah.
Are we
Did we get a reward?
heroes?
You know what? I am gonna actually go through and talk about each of your rewards from your divine beings, because over the last couple of weeks you will have felt a sort of surge of power. You will have felt the how pleased the deities that watch over you, specifically your missions, are with your successes. That much they can agree on, if nothing else. So let's go through first. So and I will send this to you privately so that you can kind of reference it, and I will have it in your character sheets for next session. It's something that I realized about 2 minutes before we went live that I realized I hadn't done yet. But I'll have that first for next session. So Astrea, you have amassed enough piety points with Keranos to have achieved Keranos's votary. So when you fail an intelligence or wisdom saving throw, you can re-roll the die and must use the new roll. Once you use this trait, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. So I will send that to you momentarily. Callista, your powers of foretelling the future have received an upgrade. We all know that your seer powers were probably like your favorite thing to use last season. You now have the ability to cast divination as a ritual with this trait. Once you do, you cannot do it again until you finish a long rest. Okay, so you can do it once.
She'll like that. She's so unsure of herself out in the world for the first time. You know, she needs a lot of guidance.
Give me guidance. Tell me what to do. Let's go with Eva next. Eva, your mental fortitude has definitely proved useful and sometimes a little frustrating.
No, Callista's not frustrated at all.
Slash unnerving to those that are used to being able to just barge in on the thoughts of others whenever they feel like it. So Krufix has given you a little upgrade with that. You may now cast Detect Thoughts without requiring any material components. Intelligence is your spellcasting ability with it. Kaliuka. Kaliuka, you have most certainly pleased Iroas. Iroas feels the victories that you have achieved, but feels like they cannot offer that creative spark that you need in order to really pursue what it is that you want to do with life. Luckily, Iroas has a friend that might be able to help with that, by the name of Perforos. So you not only have Iroas's blessing, you also have Perforos's blessing. You have drawn the notice of the Forge God with your skill. Ooh. You may cast Shield of Faith, requiring no material components, a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, which I believe is 1. And you regain all expended uses when finishing a long rest. In addition, you now know the Mending cantrip, which, given your interesting carpentry, I'm sure will prove very useful. And last but not least, Onyx. The way you're rubbing your hands together, Onyx. Nilia,
I was a good girl.
You were. Nilia is pleased with your faith when others were faithless, with your consistent loyalty. She recognizes your feelings of loss, perhaps your need for comfort and connection in a world that doesn't provide much. And Nilia's domain is very wilderness based. So she offers connection with the natural world around you. You may cast Speak with Animals with this trait, a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier. And then regain after a long rest. In addition, I think I've missed another in addition thing, which I'll go back to in a minute. In addition, you have advantage on saving throws against being poisoned.
Ooh.
Crufix also gave Eva advantage on saving throws against being charmed. My apologies, I forgot to read that little bit out. Cool. And you sense that that's maybe not all else that Crufix might have given you, Eva, but he's holding it back as a secret for now. He seems to find a lot of enjoyment out of watching you scrabble to find out his secrets. So we will see if you can find it. Cool. I will let you carry on. Was there a question asked that I just went massively through all that and didn't answer, or am I misremembering?
I think we're good. We've just all been sitting here like jaws on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just emotional.
Also, I lived for your reaction at a certain part of my little speech there, and I don't know if everyone else saw it, but there was a part where just Jen lost it, and it just I love it. Okay.
Implying Jen never had it.
You are all happy then to kind of head into the sort of main palace. It's a place, Australia, that you are familiar with. And as you're kind of on your way, Alexander would kind of brief you all a little bit on what to expect. And I think his instructions are very much kind of surrounding, like, don't do this, make sure you look smart, make sure you're keeping your back straight, make sure that you refer to the regent as your grace. Very trying to school you all in the last 5 minutes before you arrive as to how he at least expects you to behave around the region. He seems nervous, a little antsy. On the other hand, Cassian is also riding with you. He is quiet, very quiet, and has been the entire journey. Very little to say, very little energy, I suppose, for conversation or any kind of bantering that a certain half-elf wizard might be used to. There's a lot of change in his life, and he seems like he is processing that. You can see particularly as you're kind of approaching, he's holding onto the reins very tightly with a sort of almost like white knuckle grip. He seems nervous, unsure of what to expect. Alexander Prius would also tell you all that he has obviously sent word ahead. A big part of the letter that you all found said that the queen had been taken. This is a big development for Outcross. They knew that the queen had disappeared. They didn't know if she was dead and they couldn't find her, or if she had run away, or what had happened. But this is the biggest kind of breakthrough that they've had in terms of figuring out what has happened to the queen. So they have, in the interest of transparency, announced that to the people of Across, essentially letting them know that they have more information on the queen's disappearance, and that they are doing everything that they can to we're working on it, basically, is the message given out. So he kind of forewarned you that the people of Across are aware of you all. They know, they have at least heard of the sort of band of heroines that saved some Setessan people and then blew the case wide open, as it were. And as you all are kind of arrive into Across, you can see that there is sort of crowds gathering on the street as they all try to kind of get a bit of a look at you. Is there anything that anyone wants to do or talk about or say before we head to see Regent Taranika? No?
I'll just say that Eva's probably, like, as they're walking into like the big town, she's gonna constantly be kind of like trying to hide under Onyx's like feet or in her shadow, but she's always like tightly up behind Onyx and following them.
Definitely not trying to attract too much attention.
Yep.
All right.
Olivia has her bagpipes on her shoulder. She's gonna angle it so that her face isn't constantly visible and peek over it and look into the crowd to see if she recognizes anyone.
Roll a perception check for me.
That is an 18 total.
18. Okay.
I hope no one's
as
there.
you walk, I can only guess that you are looking for a particular set of faces within the crowd. Anyone from your family that you might recognize. And every time your kind of eyes drift across a sort of Goliath, you kind of feel yourself honing in on them. Oh, no. It's no one that I know. As you are heading towards the palace gates, there's quite a much larger crowd of people there. And at this point, you're thinking, this is a much larger crowd. I'm looking for a bigger group. Maybe my family will, all be out in force here. And you almost miss him. And then as you kind of settle yourself, you drop the bagpipes slightly, you suddenly lock eyes with your older brother, Kiroba, who has come to watch the procession. And as his eyes fall upon yours, his eyes widen in surprise. He might have been expecting a band of heroes. He might not have specifically been expecting you. And so you sort of see that sort of intake of breath. And then he draws back into the crowd and disappears. And Alexander Krios kind of hurries you along through the gates.
I think as we're kind of approaching the gates, just almost like routinely, Estrella will just kind of like give Cassian a nudge and just like, her heart's not really in it, but like she'll just say like, sit up straight, asshole.
He sits up straight and says nothing.
I also think Callista would, like Kilyuka, would be kind of scanning the crowd. She's a little nervous since this is the last place she saw the delegation that she came to Akros with. Mm-hmm. And she did sort of run away. So she is a little afraid that they might try to make her go back. And she feels like she's not done with this group yet. So she is a little nervous and kind of trying to stay in the middle of the group and not call too much attention to herself.
So you can roll a perception check for me as well.
Oh, lovely. My brand new dice that I got specifically for Callista rolled a natural 1.
Oh, I love it. You just see a mass of people.
That is still
overwhelming and frightening.
Wouldn't be Theros without something like that.
When you're going through, there's not really any reaction from them. They're just kind of watching. It's more curiosity than anything. Whereas in Satessa, it was very clear. You know, Silverbrow had briefed the crowd. Was like, they're coming back, and they're coming back with all of the family members and everything. Like Silverbrow kind of knew, had a vision of what was going to happen. Here, they don't know what to expect. So they know that you have done something good. They know that you have discovered some information about the Queen and the Queen's disappearance. And the Queen, Australia, you would know, and probably have told the group this, the Queen Symede was beloved amongst the people here in Akros. They loved her. So her disappearance is incredibly tragic and saddening for Akros as a whole. That's not to say that Taranika is not loved by the people as well, but it's just that, you know, the idea of perhaps the Queen being found or the Queen coming back might excite them, give them some level of hope that they, or at least some closure, because they love the Queen. So you walk through the gates, and you enter the palace, and you kind of Alexander Krios kind of marches you through the halls. You have a hard time keeping up with him. He's got a very quick step. He's always a man on a mission. There's no sort of slowness to the way that he is, but he kind of takes you to I guess like a waiting chamber, and you wait to be brought in, and you all sit and are waiting for some time, and he kind of looks around and he says grabs a nearby member of sort of the staff or a nearby guard and says, let Taranika know that we are here. And then he turns to you all. Yeah, go on.
A brief note for this meeting. I am going to activate my Helm of Comprehend Languages just in case just so I can be a nosy little bitch.
Uh-huh.
Just wanted to note that. Sorry, continue.
You want to just listen to everything everyone says.
I do. I need to know everything. I am a wizard. If I don't know everything, I'm not doing my job right.
No, do you know what? That's a smart move. That's a very smart move.
Wow, Darcy. Okay.
I need to know what Darcy wrote right now.
Whew.
Wow.
Whew.
That's some
Whew.
fearless feedback for you, Jem.
Tell us. Don't make me open another window.
Darcy said, Jen playing against character in this game, I see.
But she did a smart thing. You see.
Oh, goodness. I've been murdered
ouchie.
this fine morning. It is like 7 a.m. Why are you doing this to me, Darcy? 7:40, whatever.
I'm sorry, everyone. I also just want to really put out there that I'm really appreciative of my players getting up so early to come be in this game, or going to bed so late to come be in this game with me.
The
All right,
only
so-
circumstance in which I'm happy to get up at 6 a.m. on a Sunday. Only time, ever.
Sunday as well. Oh. Okay, I'm gonna stop eating and talking at the same time. That's so. So, you wait for some time, in relative silence, and Alexander Krios kind of is looking around at you all, and he kind of has this moment of he's been talking a lot about the logistics, and he realizes that everyone is silent and everyone is tense and everyone is nervous, and he realizes, oh, maybe it's my job to kind of calm everyone down here.
Oh, Uncle
So
Alex.
he goes, he says, I came on too strong with the airs and graces. My niece is very, she'll want to know, but there's nothing to worry about. None of you are in trouble. And he kind of looks around, hoping that might lighten the mood a bit, as everyone just looks like.
Astrea's mood has nothing to do with his niece, unfortunately. The problem is with his not nephew.
Yeah, but he doesn't know that. You see,
Yeah.
he just assumes that you all think that you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think similarly, Onyx's mood has literally nothing to do with what's going on in front of her. She's just kind of like spacing out, being like, the last time I left home, my mom got kidnapped. That was fun.
Spider napped.
Yeah. Like, feeling like a little bit like, should I have gone away
Yeah,
again?
exactly.
Meanwhile, you see,
But
like,
also,
Kai...
sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, but also like knowing that she needed to like tie up loose ends and still going out. So.
Meanwhile, the way that Kalika is kind of sitting, Kai is sitting on her lap, kind of like half standing and patting her shoulder gently, because with every jerk, like Kalika just suddenly grabs onto the bagpipes and it releases like this real startled gasp each time she does. So she's like,
That's adorable.
I think in preparation for this meeting, Estrella last night would have switched her familiar into a hummingbird to just fit in her pocket. And we'll kind of give like almost a canned response to Uncle Alex, just acknowledging his attempt to make us feel better and reassuring him that we're not worried. We're just, like, we're not worried for ourselves. We're worried for Akros. And just a very canned response that's mostly
political response.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, our biggest concern right now is the Queen and Akros's future.
Yeah.
Looking at Cassian as he's just sinking further into the floor.
Oh no, my boy Cassian!
He, I mean, and at that, Uncle Alex, he sort of drops his shoulders and he goes, "Oh well, yes, of course that is something that we are you have demonstrated that. You have all demonstrated that by, and we are very grateful. I will say that before even the regent gets to, for all of your contributions and help within this matter. I confess, beyond wanting to hear the words from your lips, I'm not really sure why she has called us all here. Perhaps he seeks to understand some more detail that, and he kind of seems a little bit bitter as he says this, I apparently did not convey in my letter.
I take it you brought the letter that was addressed to, I kind of like glance over at Cassian, our missing
fugitive. Yes, I did. I have it here in my pocket. He immediately goes to check his pocket to make sure.
Does he have any clue how wrecked this boy is, or how exhausted we are, for that matter?
I feel. Do you know what? Roll an insight check.
Okay. I'm just curious if he's just like, you know, is he clueless or is he just doing his best to, you know, okay, that's not a good roll. The good news is it's not a 1. It was a 3, so 8.
8.
I'm distracted.
So used to you rolling 25 above. What happened, Jen?
My insight's a +2. It's a whiz roll, Cat. It's not an int roll. I don't have a plus bajillion to those. I'm too busy worrying about something else.
You are a bit too busy. I feel like you're a little bit too wrapped up in the strange behavior of Cassian, which is understandable but still concerning.
It's weird, I'm he's not bullying me relentlessly, and it's weird and uncomfortable.
I guess that your general impression. I'm gonna bring in your general impression of the man, of the time that you've known him, because you have known Alexander Krios a relative amount of time, not as well as Cassian and his father, but you will have had many run-ins with him.
Please enjoy the cat.
He is a man that is very much about business, and he is a little oblivious to emotion. He's very much on a mission. He's a great communicator, but not in the sense that he does so with any kind of finesse or tact sometimes.
He does politics, not feelings.
Yeah. And very, very like detail oriented, but does not seem to be the kind of person that will stop and take a breath and really read a room. Your general feeling will probably tell you that no, he has no idea that everyone is exceptionally tired and in their feels. He's just very focused on the next step. And it's at that point that the guard that he's sort of sent to go and speak to the regent returns, and they open the door and say, the regent will see you now. Her Grace will see you now. And they open the door wider for you all to enter.
Enter.
Cassian hops straight to his feet and marches inside, as does Uncle Krios.
Uncle Alex. I am on their heels
Alex,
as the wizard in training.
As the wizard in training, you follow. I guess that you all follow inside.
No, we just let that take all the heat.
Okay, so inside, there's a sort of rather large. It is a sort of throne room, but there is, I guess it would be considered like a war table, and it's a big part of the kind of general decoration of the room. Maybe hasn't seen much use for its original purpose in recent years. Akros, as I've kind of said before, is very a militant nation and was well known for its more aggressive form of diplomacy in the past. But now, especially during the reign of King Anax and Queen Cymede, a semblance of peace has been reached with the two major cities. And so really the table, if anything, is used to figure out strategy against particularly troublesome bandits or issues that concern the immediate defense of the city rather than war within Theros. And she is sat at this table, so she's not sat kind of on the throne. And you Australia, you would have kind of noticed she rarely sits on that throne. It's almost as if she's a little uncomfortable with it. This kind of responsibility was a little foisted upon her. With the disappearance of the queen, she was the next relative that was willing to take the position. Not Alexander Krios, because he was not the king's brother. He was the queen's sister's husband. So he's not actually directly related, but he took the Krios name when he married. Taranika is sort of sat there. She has quite short cropped hair, a very practical sense of fashion. Unlike Queen Cymede, who is known for her very glamorous dresses and sort of gorgeous fashions, she's a much more practical person. And her face is sort of constantly fixed into an expression of having pursed lips, which initially might be off-putting for people, but her eyes, you find, often search for understanding, not conflict. So she is not unkind. And she sort of sits, and she and Krios Alexander Krios kind of sat next to her. Cassian has also taken a seat, and there is one other person in the room who you will immediately recognize, Astraea. It is Dean Saria Faris, the headmistress of the Decacia.
Oh boy.
Your college.
Oh boy.
And she is also sat here in the room, and the moment you will walk in, her eyes are searching for you, Astraea, and as she sees you, she kind of slightly smiles, gives a tight nod, and kind of sits back.
I will give her the deferential nod that is expected, I assume.
Yes, there will be there's definitely an expected sort of level of politeness, and I think as well, her presence was a surprise to Cassian. Also, he sort of sits and he kind of looks between her and you with a slightly baffled expression, but takes a seat. And absent-mindedly, as you kind of come close to the table, he just pulls out the chair for you to sit next to him. Everyone's reaction, like, yeah. So you may all take your seats, or choose to stand, or is there anyone that's not sitting or standing on the table, or I don't know, doing something?
Kaliyuka and I will immediately pull out the bagpipes and do a full jig on the table.
This is the moment where Kaliyuka is like, I've written an entire song about our adventures. Here's the recap, everyone. Okay, so as you all kind of enter and sit, or some maybe more comfortably than others, Taranika sort of patiently waits, and she kind of turns to Alexander and she says, so this is them? And he says, yes, your grace, this is these are the adventurers, and Lady Astraea, of course you already know, but this is, and he starts to kind of introduce you all with that, and he's having that moment where he realizes, I've not memorized these names as well as I should have done. So he's like been so caught up in everything else, but he kind of introduces you all, and pronounces what he knows of you. This is Onyx of Setessa. She fought in our arena. You may remember seeing her rather ferocious battle against Dion of the Burning Spears, and Lady Callista, of course. She is an oracle, a member of the Temple of Afara, and Kaliuka. Again, you may remember her gladiator troupe. Killjoy is one of our the best gladiators in the city, and always puts on such a wonderful spectacle. And Kaliuka is his daughter, and this is Eva.
And this is Eva.
She's just gonna give like a little wave in her like darkness of her cloak. She's just gonna be like, "Hello."
Most accomplished adventurer indeed, and he kind of looks at her, and she kind of says, "Well, I'll it must have been a long journey, and I apologize that I have not given time for rest before coming to see me, but this is a trying matter and trying time for Akros. I suppose I would ask that you all, in your own words, tell me what happened. It is not," and she kind of turns to her uncle as if she almost knew that he was going to be bothered by this. It is not that I felt that details were missed. It is more that I just prefer to hear stories from the sources.
I have a question. We've established, right, that the stuff that we were chasing down over the course of last season was not related to Ulysses. So I don't see necessarily a reason to start any earlier than we got a message from someone in Setessa mentioning that he'd shown up early and we decided to rush back. Does that sound reasonable to people?
I'm a little lost.
Well, I think that so her intent is probably that she would just rather listen to everything. She would like to understand your adventures, and this is obviously a good chance for some recap of season one. If there's particular things that people would want to leave out, you don't need to kind of. I can assume that you've discussed it beforehand or whatever. I'm not going to be the person that's just like, well, no, because she said it, so now it's out there. I will allow for if you've had things that you might have said, please don't tell them this or whatever. But ultimately, I think just a kind of brief party recap on kind of the goings on seasons. Maybe all of you had different bits of information that you've kind of put together as well.
I guess if Onyx kind of looks around and sees no one else starting, then she'll begin by explaining why she was in Akros in the first place, and talking about Dion of the Burning Spears and how she came to investigate that, and then how she and Eva went on their little journey to track him and find out more about that, and then ended up going back to Setessa only to find out that her mother was missing.
And she kind of listens to that, and she, as you say, Dion of the Burning Spears, there's a hint of sort of recognition. She knows that name. He's a fighter in the arenas every year, and she's particularly interested in the area where, obviously, I'm guessing that you would tell her about what Dion told you, regarding memory modification and particularly this blonde-haired woman, which Dion did remember her name was something along the lines of Elena or something like that. It sounds like it could be the same person, but it was kind of a bit fuzzy in the old memory still. But she would have particular interest in that. And then you would see when you talk about your mother disappearing, there would be a sort of softening of her features. And she says, I can only imagine how hard that would have been. It is very hard when a family member disappears and you're not entirely sure where they have gone, with no word, no trace. So I just realized as I was saying that, I'm like, I'm not trying to make Kaliuka feel awful at all. I can only imagine how difficult that would have been. And I hear that some form of spider was the cause of this.
Yes. There had been a group of scientists, researchers, who had been chasing down the legend of Arasta, and perhaps there are some places that science should perhaps stop before. They had been experimenting on people, kidnapping them, sealing them away in these egg spegs.
I'm sorry. Run that one. This is not a word I'm familiar with.
It's cetacicate. It's a word for spider eggs.
Yes, I am familiar with cetacicate. I shall have to read up on it a little more. But sorry, I interrupted. Do go.
Yes, there's actually a Durkle book in the library about that, about cetacicate. Anyway. And I'll kind of like launch into kind of like the story of the cave. And does anyone else have anything to add before I get to the juicy bits?
Well, just before you do, I think listening to Astrea and Onyx say this in such a calm and, polite tone, like Kaluka is just kind of like looking between them and then just looks and goes like, well, they might not have had any problem, but it was horrible. It was so dark and stinky and like so icky. And there were like spider eggs everywhere. And we were just like, oh, they're just like large spider eggs. Maybe it's just a giant spider. But no, we break it open and then a person falls out and they're becoming half into a spider. And how do you think we are feeling when we're going looking for Onyx's mom? And then we just see like half spider people. And you're just like, how do we tell Onyx? We don't know yet. But thankfully, Onyx's mom was great. She was fantastic. A little traumatized, and we're horrible, and that was horrible and should not happen to people like this anymore. But it was so bad. I have never felt terrible about not being able to see in the dark before, but now I understand. Now I understand when people walk into a room, why they go, I have dark vision. It makes sense now.
I'll place like I'll kind of like reach over to place a comforting pat on Kaliuka's head.
I feel like, Taranika, she kind of, Onyx is speaking very stoically and from the heart, and then followed by very kind of cool and political retelling of events from Jen. And I feel like Taranika would have been very much like in political official mind frame. But the moment that you just come out with this very
it was fucking awful, yo.
This was the worst thing. I don't know why everyone is so calm about it. Like, there were spiders and I couldn't see anything. And like she there's this moment of like real shock and surprise. I feel it's been a long time since anyone has spoken this candidly with Taranika since she's come into power. And then it is kind of replaced with like a genuine look of delight as she kind of gets more embroiled in the story and more and kind of like she like gasps in all the right places. It's just like, oh, it's horrible, and she's kind of because she's not been treated this way for some time. Normally people talk to her like Alexander Krios talks to her, and talks to everyone. So she's well, that sounds like quite the adventure.
We're not even done.
All of you seem to have had quite an adventure.
Yeah, we're not even done. We're only halfway
You
done.
didn't even get to the crazy parts.
So Eva,
she looks at you. She looks at you, Calliope, and is like, "That wasn't the crazy parts."
God, was so much
So
worse.
Eva, while all this is going on, she's gonna have like her little sketchbook, and she's gonna be drawing out some of the runes that they had found in that crypt.
Yeah.
So, because I think her and Estrella both had like gone and sketched them. So she's gonna write down some of them, but not like the whole phrase that was kind of etched in there. And then she's gonna flip it upside down, slide it across the table, tap it a couple of times, and then just like sit back.
She'll take it and she'll look at it, and she'll smile, and she'll look up and she'll say, "Fate. Yes, it seems that the deities want you all together. I'm not sure why.
That's
but
what Callista said.
You seem to, and at this point she is kind of like she's looking at you, Eva, but then her eyes travel to Callista, and she says, "And my reports tell me that you have had visions surrounding all of this."
Yes, I have. And I'm not sure exactly where they're leading us, but I know that the story is not over. I saw visions of some islands and a woman, and it was very disturbing. I don't know yet what we're supposed to do, but I do know we have to stay together, and we have to get to the bottom of this.
You have seen Lady Helene?
I saw a woman.
The description matched Lady Helene, yes.
I believe it was. Because Lulu was like, I should have rewatched part of this, and I don't remember all the details.
Yes, you did briefly. I think you read the thoughts of Ulysses before he
Noped out
of the situation, and you were greeted with the sight of a beautiful woman with long, sort of slightly wavy, gorgeously braided hair.
I feel like Callista was a little freaked out about the handmaiden and the way she met her demise. That's...
So you did. So I'll make it clear that you didn't see that.
Okay.
That was something that happened off
okay.
vision. You saw what Lady Helene looked like because you saw it within the visions of Ulysses. It was, you were probing deeper into his thoughts, and that was the image that was consuming his thoughts. So you know what she looks like. Accurately know what she looks like, and you know that she is on an island because you could hear the sound of the sea. You could see the sea and the sand, so you know that she is on an island, and that kind of matches up with some of the other information that you have found.
All right, and she, Callista would tell her that, I've been having these visions and these dreams pulling me towards the sea and pulling this group towards the sea, and I can't help but think that we need to go and find this woman and see what she's up to and see if we can bring back your queen, if that is indeed what the gods want.
So as you say that, she smiles. And she kind of nods and she says, I'm very glad to hear that. Those were thoughts that I had as well. I suppose I will ask, and Alexander Krios at this point says, forgive me, Your Grace, I need to ask, on the matter of Lady Helene, I feel like, and he kind of looks at you all, having talked about spiders and all of these different things, he said, I feel like we have gotten a little off topic.
Yes, we are still only halfway there.
Have we found anything to do with Lady Helene? Any sign of her having come into... We were informed by the letter that she had, and by Cassian's memories of his meeting with her that have now seemed to have re-emerged, that she has been here in Akros. We must have some record of that.
Well, we have something in writing.
Taranika says, that's the unusual thing. We have absolutely no record of her having been here. It is like everybody who may have handled that has had their memory wiped in some way. I love the idea of Eva pulling that exact face and like, yeah, that tracks. And she says, forgive me, Uncle, I would like to hear the rest of the story.
Oh, yes. Hello. That's me. So after all of that business, in the cave, I received a message from one of the leadership figures of Setessa. Estrella leaves out the part where she implied that she was fucking in bed with Cassie or some shit. I received a message from one of the leadership of Setessa, informing me that the Lord Commander had arrived earlier than expected, so as to not miss what I assumed to be an impending morning meeting. We rushed back. She kind of like glances over at like Cassian's fucking bruises and batters. There was an accident that she does her best to not look murderous. I suspect fails.
Aranika raises an eyebrow but says nothing.
Rolls a natural one, so fails to not look murderous. Like miserably, fucking miserably. And the person that had contacted me the previous night shared some suspicions regarding the Lord Commander, after which we decided to do our own investigation with her assistance. And we found and immediately brought to light during this meeting, and I'll kind of like glance over at good old Uncle Alex, as if to say,
yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Opens up the letter and goes, for your perusal, Your Grace.
And I'm keeping an eye on Cassian as well, just to see like what his face looks like as that second half of the story shows up. How's he doing? How's he doing, Kat?
Roll insight.
Oh boy.
I'll give you advantage because it's Cassian and you're a little bit more well versed in Cassian.
I do speak Cassian, yes.
You speak Cassian facial
16.
expressions very well.
That is a 16.
16. He has still been very quiet. At this portion of the story where we're kind of brushing over, his father's utmost betrayal, his recent injuries, all of the trauma points really, discomfort. He's doing a good job of really reining it in, but you can see sort of the I guess the increased breathing and the slight clenching of fists. He is not in a happy place right now, but he is managing.
Okay.
Wow. And he can't help but keep looking at the dean that is joining, and who is also sitting there. She's waiting very patiently, but she seems a little confused as to where this is going, as it were. But she is listening and waiting patiently, and she's especially interested in all the things that you have to say, obviously, because you are her student.
And I will wait for Her Grace to finish the letter. When she appears to be done, I will continue with. We brought this to the meeting in light of what we saw. We stopped any kind of food and drink distribution. And this was brought immediately to the attention of a kind of like gesture at good old Uncle Alex here. There was I kind of like glance over at our lovely headmistress. There was a moment where I thought I might have been able to stop this escape, but it was a 50-50 shot of what method of arcane means he had been using at the time. And I predicted the wrong one, but he made off with, well, what little bit of his dignity he had left.
He has no doubt gone back to his lady to think up a new plan. And from what I can tell, she is intelligent enough to perhaps come up with something. If you will all forgive me, I had another purpose in bringing you all here. It was not just to hear your story. But this will involve the input of our guest. And she kind of gestures to the dean. And she says, it is my belief that we can find our queen, or at least answers to where my aunt is being kept within the Dakra Isles. Our sources here in Theros have revealed almost nothing. Very little is known about the Dakra Isles. They are unpredictable. Their magic is strange. Some of them even worship different deities. We do not know much, but it would require a voyage to go searching. And it is my belief that the five of you are the best equipped to do so. The gods clearly want you all together. They clearly want your aid in this matter. I think you could be of great help. You obviously work well as a team. And it is at this point the dean, who has been sitting so quietly and so patiently, the moment that this is brought up, she looks a little flustered. If you might forgive me, Your Grace, I was wondering, first of all, hello, Estrella. I have some concerns, firstly, that Estrella was allowed to go off on this spider hunting adventure.
Let me be clear. I did not give anyone much of a choice in the matter.
I see. Well, nevertheless, Astrea, your studies are important, and if this is to go ahead, then Cassian will have to go with you. And
Cassian is needed
Taranika says,
here.
nonsense, I need Cassian here with me. Astrea will go alone. And she seems very firm on this matter.
Oh no, separation.
She says, the deities, for whatever reason, require the five of them to be together. With all due respect, headmistress, I'm sure that Astrea's studies are very important, and believe me when I say that they are important to me as well, but the voices of the gods and the finding of my aunt is, I am afraid, a higher priority to me.
And what better thesis subject is there than a foray without my mentor?
At this point, the dean is like, this is off the records. No one has ever done this before. This is supposed to be work experience, and it has been done in a particular way for thousands of years. The dean kind of looks, and she says, well, Cassian, how may I ask, is Astrea as a a student? I hope she hasn't been causing you any trouble. Do you find her to be agreeable? Do you find her to be hardworking? I would like to hear your thoughts as her mentor.
Astrea does her best to manage her immediate panic.
Cassian, the first time he's been called upon in this conversation to speak, he kind of looks, and he draws a deep breath. Lady Astrea has been the best student I could have asked for in any endeavor that I have set her to. She has completed with a grace and expediency that I appreciate in any student. I could not have asked for any better than her. She is competent, she is hardworking, she knows far more than anyone I have ever met, and I would be glad to give her a reference should she need it.
I'm not okay.
And his face is just very like blank as he says this. And he says, on the matter of her studies, it is obviously my preference that she would stay here with me, where she would be safe. I will require her services in the coming months. I'm sure I have much to do since my father's treasonous behavior. And then he turns to you, Astrea, and he says, what do you want to do?
I kind of look at him for a second. We're gonna just fucking raw, like, what the fuck just happened on my face? I rolled, you know, an absolute garbage deception of like a 10 or some shit. Just absolute nonplussed, what the fuck was that face? And then I kind of like look at him. I very rarely actually properly meet his eyes because I'm short, and B, and B, I'm usually too busy, like, ribbing him or something. But I kind of look at him. I am used to him being a very, if not confident, confident looking person. And this is about as broken as I've ever seen him. Especially if he's complimenting me, good lord. And I kind of look at him. I think the shock and surprise kind of morphs a little bit into a stubborn resolve. And she turns back to the headmistress and the regent, and she says, "Let's get him."
There's like a settled silence within the room, and the dean, she kind of looks at you, Estrella, and she meets your eyes, and she goes, "Well, that is about as glowing a review as I could have expected. Consider your studies done, Lady Estrella. You have passed with merit. You no longer need to fulfill your remaining few months. Once you are done with your duties here, you may, of course, return to us and study further, or details of your graduation ceremony shall come to you in due course."
Estrella looks like a gaping fish at this point. Just every time she gets up from a surprise, like, nope, back down with you.
Onyx kind of like claps her on the shoulder a little bit.
She kind of like stammers her way through a thank you.
And then she says, "Of course, whatever it is you decide to do from here on out, whether it's to study with us or make your own way in life, there is nothing tying you anymore to Lord Commander Cassian." And she gets up and bows her head towards Taranika, and Taranika says, "Well, then, if the rest of you are in agreement and wish to go on this voyage, I have a boat ready for you in Miletus. I do not have a crew, I confess. Feel free to spend the next couple of days resting and recuperating. I'm sure you all need it after such an exhausting journey." Go
Your
on.
Grace, could I request access to the library here? If we're going to be going off on a boat, then I suspect our group may want to brush up on our geography and our nautical knowledge, so to speak.
Of course, you shall have access to everything you need in preparation. And I'm sure that, and she looks at you, Kaliuka. I guess she's not really sure of the context around you, so she knows you to be Killjoy's daughter. She said, "I'm sure some of you will want to come and visit family and things, and I will, yes, if we could reconvene here this afternoon, and right. Well, thank you very much for coming together with me. And with that, I think we shall head to a break, about 15 minutes while we pay the ad tax, as it were, and we shall be back very soon with you all. Thank you so much for tuning in so far. See you in about 15 minutes time.
See
Bye.
you. I'm getting into it.
And we are back. We're transitioning. We're transitioning from the spider hands to like waves. I love this was purely just from me watching Lindsay do it and going, that's brilliant. I'm gonna take that. Okay, so we have just come out of a meeting with Regent Taranika. The summary of that would basically have been the following. The 5 of you are going on a voyage to priority number 1, or at least this is Taranika's priority number 1, recover or find out more information about the fate of the Lost Queen. That is priority number 1. The second is obviously to, if we can, try to get I didn't ever want to be, it just popped into my head, Daddy Ulysses. I didn't ever want to say that
and
again.
Mommy Helene?
Ulysses and
Mommy Helene?
Lady Helene. And bring them back to Theros to face Acrosian justice. Taranika / Cassian / Astrea's wrath is what that will basically be. So that is kind of what she will have given across to you. She, as I said, she has a ship in Miletus for you all. That ship doesn't technically have a name yet, so that will be your homework for when we get to that. But she has a ship. She doesn't have a crew, so she says like she basically tasked you all with maybe while you're going along finding a crew. Or aiding to find a crew. So what I really wanted to go through now is, I guess, individual, like if you had any RP moments, if you had anything that you wanted to do while you're here on Akros, we can kind of go through and do those things, ready for your journey to Miletus. So does anyone, well, I'll go through and I'll just go like from person to person. We can all talk about what it is we kind of want to do. I see Lulu had her hand. She was desperate.
I do.
So I'll go, Lulu. What is it that you were thinking?
Well, I was just, as we're leaving the council room and the meeting, Estrella would just hear in her head from Callista, "Wow, you're so good at talking to people in power. I need to take some lessons from you. I don't think I'm very good at it." And that's
I'll kind of like turn back as we're going and hang back and just like whisper on the way out. The secret is to know that you can blow them up with just an errant thought.
ooh, that's good to know. I'll have to remember that.
Thanks, Darcy. Picture them in their underwear.
I am a fan of the idea of Alexander Krios maybe slightly overhearing that and just be like,
absolutely,
would have
go for it.
and looked momentarily concerned.
I can just blow them up if I need to. I love that.
Especially because
Okay.
we didn't hear the first half of the conversation.
Just had to. The secret is to know that you can just blow them up.
Out of context,
all right,
no,
so
nothing.
Let's go with. I'm gonna just go around. I'm gonna just hear like everyone's kind of thoughts. People might have more thoughts once other people have gone, etc., etc. But I guess I'll start. I'm gonna go with what I can see on here. So I guess I'll start with Kumi first. What do you think Kalika will want to do here in Aquaswell?
So I think if initially, if right now we're walking away from the council and we go to have a bite to eat somewhere, Kalika would be incredibly fidgety and Kai would be just kind of like running around in circles, and then so she'd look to the others and in a very serious voice she'd be like, "So I have a mission, a personal mission, one that can help me grow maybe, but now I'm not sure how much I've told you about, me running away from my family. And if you don't know it yet, I am a little terrified of my father. And Papa is not always the easiest to talk to. And I know that we might look like champions, heroes outside, but I still feel like, a sort of prisoner of my own heart right now. And I don't know how to go and talk to him about this. And I really look up to him. And honestly, I do feel like if I were able to tell him about how much I've been able to achieve, maybe even get him to listen to a song, it might be a little better. But right now, I mean, he's never seen me do anything apart from fight. And even when I used to play, I would go deep into the forest and play by myself so that nobody else could hear it. And you're also good at talking and doing things that you set your mind to. How would you talk to your father or your parent, but isn't always very good at listening?
I think Callista would be like, I don't really have any advice. I kind of ran away too. I'm a little afraid of going back to Miletus to find out what they're going to do when I get back to the temple. But we have your back and you're amazing. I mean, you went out and we saved all those people. I mean, your dad would have to be just so proud of you and what you've accomplished. And we'll, if you want, I can go and I can tell him that you were just following the gods. I don't know. I don't think you should be afraid of him. You were like the bravest person I've ever met.
Thank you so much. Oh, I mean, I would really love to introduce you to my family, and I really don't want to stay behind here, and I don't think adventure ends here together. And I need to be honest, I can't swim. So each time they were talking about the boat, I was just like, but what about the water around the boat? isn't that our first enemy? But nobody seemed to be concerned about that. And I didn't feel like, like dark vision, everybody seems to be having it. I just thought maybe all of you could swim as well. So I didn't really want to say anything at that point, but I would still love to swim and I'd love to come with you. And in that way, like I'd love to introduce, and I don't mean to be too forward saying this, but I'd love to introduce my new family to my old family. So I'd love to take you home. I have two little siblings and they're the absolute sweetest. I have an older brother. He tries to act tough, but he's a softie inside. And Papa and Mama is the best. She has the best voice in the world. And Papa, he's just so strong and confident and so brave, and he looks after all of us. And I wish he'd be proud of me, and I'm proud of what I've done with all of you, and I'd love to show that to him and show that, I'm safe, I'm doing good, and I've got two gods interested in me now, so take that, I guess.
Oh, I would love to go home with you and meet your family. I really don't have a family. I mean, I had the people in the temple, I guess they were my sisters, but I've never really felt like I had a family except for maybe you guys. So I would love to go and meet your family.
What is a dad?
Some people think that he's the head of the household, but mostly he's just a person acting tough.
Accurate.
Eva will chime in with dads are complicated.
Cassian can speak to that.
Just leave it like that. We'll leave it at dads are complicated, and I know how you feel. They think they're right. Very rarely are they right, but you have to pretend that they're right so they don't get mad, and end of story.
Yes, I wouldn't say this in front of them, but they have very, very tiny egos. Incredibly tiny egos.
Do not say that in front of me. That is my DM advice to you.
So Onyx is gonna lean over toward Astrea and be like, so it's a type of person? Or
It's if a parent were he, him, were male or identified as such.
why?
The tiny egos.
They're tiny egos.
Asking all the real questions.
It is what it's what the Lord Commander was to the General.
Oh,
Just
awful.
Are you sure that citing Lord Commander Ulysses is the best way of introducing the concept of dad?
Yes, actually.
I would say the word dad does not even come into it.
Onyx
you're
is
right.
entirely perplexed by the idea of dads and doesn't understand why anybody would want one.
Yep. And that tracks with the examples that Onyx has been given so far.
So, yes, Kalika would like to take them back home, maybe kind of have that conversation. And the remainder of the day is probably in a desperate attempt to prove useful, learn about building ships, mostly about repairing them. Kind of like ask Callista if she'd like to join her by the dock, and so that she's not duped, like someone just goes like, oh, those are sails and they're just like potato sacks on the side. Luca really doesn't know. And kind of just like learn a bit of that.
So I learn about kind of like shipbuilding and ship repairs and ship life. Cool. Did anyone else have anything that they wanted to do while here in Akros? Yes, I see Eva nodding. Yes.
So there's a few things Eva's going to want to do while she has access to the town. Number one is she will probably like disappear at some point from the group, as is normal. Sort of try and reach out to any of her part of the Obsidian Claw in the area. Get any updated info that they might have gotten in the last couple of weeks of. Well, a week since she was here last. It hasn't been that long. And wait, no, it has been long. A couple of months.
It has been a long time since you've been in Across, yeah.
Yes, so a couple of months. Get reacquainted with her agents in the area. Her biggest want is she wants books on like creatures of the sea. So sort of like the animals as a ranger. She wants to know what animals they might find in the waters, what to look out for. So she's going to want either some books or, some seedy people in a tavern somewhere missing a couple of arms or legs who can tell her firsthand accounts of some of these creatures.
It was this big!
This big! And the end of the water, it just falls off a cliff and into nothingness.
It was a
The
mollusk.
world is flat.
It was just a mollusk.
That's the kind of information. Yeah, because they're two very different kinds of information you're asking for there, and I love it. Your biggest agent would probably be Jericho, which leads me potentially onto what Lulu might want to do as well. I'm not sure. I might be wrong.
No, I think Callista would like to go back and just report into Jericho, because she's so impressed with how well she's caught on to the rogue lifestyle and how good she is at picking locks, and she feels like she's really mastered it. And so she's ready to maybe go get some more rogue lessons, maybe learn how to pick pockets, because in her mind, she has really got it down, because she understands the theory. She's got that down pat. Practically, maybe not quite so well, but she would definitely like to go back to him, and also just to thank him for his help when she first ran away.
So do you think the two of you might want to visit Jericho together?
Yeah, Eva would definitely offer to take Callista with her. She'll at some point have pull up like a lockpick and just kind of hold it up to Callista, kind of be like,
Yeah, Callista would try one more time to say something in Eva's mind and get nothing back, and just be like, yeah, no, I'd like to go.
Okay, so first of all, Eva, if you could make a so you're looking for books, and I'm assuming you're looking in the library.
Yeah, she'll hit up libraries or any black market libraries she might know about.
Cool. I'm gonna set a little skill challenge to try to figure out how much you learn, and if you do well in the skill challenge, I will give you a small reward regarding your chosen topic. So if you could do me a nature check, please, for your time in the library reading up on animals of the sea.
That would be a 12.
12, okay. Cool. If you could also do me a general charisma check for your checking in with all the local taverns.
Yep. Where is my... So that one is also a 12.
12, okay. And if you could do an investigation check for me as well.
18.
18. Okay, not bad. All above average rolls. The 18 is especially good. I will allow, and you will need to write this down, you to roll with advantage for 3 sea creature related things. So it could be, do I know information about this sea creature? It could be, I would like to find a sea creature to chat with or do whatever you want with, or whatever it's going to be. but it is specifically marine life related things. Over the course of the season, you have 3 times where you can pull from to say, I want to roll this one with advantage.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, cool. So that addresses that. And then the 2 of you are going to visit Jericho, so we'll revisit that in just a moment. I just want to check in with what let's go with Onyx. Onyx, did you have anything that you specifically wanted to do or look for while you were here in Outcross?
I think it's all minor stuff, but I want to visit if there's a temple of Nilia, visit and make an offering. Then after that, I think I would go find whatever district of town is where all the smiths practice and just like volunteer to like make nails or whatever they need done just to like pick up some skill, like talk shop with them, find out who people would recommend as good crewmen for a sea voyage. And then other than that, I think she would just be doing like drills, practicing her swordsmanship, and yeah.
All right, I like that. Okay, I will bear that in mind. And Estrella, what are you doing?
I guess also I would say if Estrella needs like a bodyguard at any point, she'll tag along for that.
Just the squishiest one in the party. If they are tall and need a bodyguard at any second.
I got a big sword and I know how to use it.
Estrella will probably have you come with her and just if she frequently likes to go for walks, especially like outside the city. She'll probably have you come with her on those walks, kind of like it's kind of like a centering experience, just kind of a preparing to go out into the world. She would probably have a little bit of vulnerability as well. Like she has spent a lot of time in like various states of being, but is new to the idea of kind of not really having an authority figure. So she'll probably have a bunch of questions about what the fuck do you do with all this freedom? But
you're asking the person who's literally 3 years old.
Best person to ask.
Honestly, yeah. Like
3-year-olds think that they can do anything without any kind of authority.
Exactly. And like
just listening to my 3-year-old niece right now screaming downstairs.
Oh, baby.
Yes.
But yeah, like she's just like very disoriented and very. She was not expecting to be cut loose from a program quite so soon. And she's like, I haven't even finished my thesis. But at one point, there are 2 things that Estrella is going to need to do. And for one of them, she's actually going to recruit everyone to come with her and dig into the nautical shit. So she would probably like at some point be like, hey, I'm going to the fanciest library around to find all the information. Anyone who wants to come is welcome to come. The main priority is going to be hunting down a cartographer's kit and researching map making and researching shippy stuff.
Okay, and just as a note, with the tool proficiencies that we have discussed, if you are wanting to purchase those various kits, either you will be able to get yours from Jericho, and everyone else you can do so. I will say if you have 20 gold pieces, you can grab those. Discounted mates with the regent's rates. They have said that they want to provide you everything that you will need. Actually, do you know what? Apart from the tools for you, Eva, which you will have to get from Jericho, but I don't think Jericho will charge you, because Jericho likes you. the rest of you, actually, you can just add those because Regent Taranika did say, I will make sure that you have everything that you need for your voyage. So that will probably include getting hold of these various things. So that's carpentry, smiths, cartographers, and navigators, I believe. Feel free to add those to your inventories.
Gorgeous.
Okay, so that's the thing that you're doing with everyone.
Yeah, I also want to do some deep dive research into anything on the Decker Isles.
Yeah.
So I will spend like a good portion, like 99% of my free time there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other 1%, like we know where I'm going. We'll go over that.
So let's just quickly do that now.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of getting the role.
Yeah.
And then between sessions, I will fill you in on the information that you find.
Okay.
But roll for me a history check.
Okay. Oh, that's shit. 16.
16 is not shit.
I rolled an 8, and an 8 is kind of shit.
To be honest, there's not huge amounts of information on the Dakar Isles anyway. A lot of it you probably already kind of knew. The Dakar Isles are not a part of Theros. There's lots of them. No one is really sure how many. They can be anything from kind of just these really tiny little islands that you can kind of see all the way around to much bigger, almost their own sort of like cities, in terms of like how much land there is. As Taranika said, they are known for having odd magics. They are known to be kind of what you would all probably think as sort of heretics, I guess, is people that worship other beings that are not the deities of Theros, and they are considered to be outside the realm of the deities, though no one would ever really outwardly say, oh, the deities can't control those islands, but they seem to, those islands are not under the protection of the deities in the same way that Theros is. I will give you more specific information within the group chat, and if you want to roll with advantage because all of you are going to sit in the library at some point and have a group study day for nautical stuff.
Yay. Please hold. Let me find a good die for it. How about this one? Thank God for that advantage, because that was the one. That's much better. 23.
23, much better. You get a good grasp, and I guess that you will school the others as well. The others get their very first taste of what it's like to be Cassian. It's very like down to business. I am teacher, you are pupils, and it's a lot of information about some of it necessary about like the general way that ships work, all of this stuff, maybe in a document that Joan has sent within our personal group chat, but just kind of nautical terms, nautical kind of things that you might encounter while you're out at sea. Issues.
I use the weather. Whiteboard.
Yeah, you get the whiteboard out. It's very very efficient, and to the point that you start to get into like the history of ships and
who made the first ship.
Like, and I feel like maybe at points Australia has to be guided onto what is relevant. We only have 2 days. We're not all going to stay in this library with you for 2 days. We have other things to do. Cool. What else? Is there anything else? Is there any RP moments or anything that you wanted to have?
Yeah, I have to go and find Cassian.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. So we will come back to that.
Yeah.
I think what I will do is I will start with Kumi's visit. Sort of fresh out. I'm going to come and introduce you to my family. So if all of you are willing to be there to support Kumi, unless any of you specifically think that you wouldn't go, which is absolutely fine. Kaliuka is going to go say hi to her family. Cool. Is there anyone that wouldn't go, or are you all just going to head off to that? No, we're all going. Excellent. So, Kalyuka, you nervously wind your way down the familiar streets. That sort of glimpse of your brother, who you haven't seen for sort of 2.5 months at this point, fresh in your mind, the shocked expression on his face. You get the feeling that perhaps you'll be expected, but you don't know what to expect. You didn't really leave on the best of terms. It was post an argument, and you left no. That's something I need to ask you, actually. Did you leave any kind of letter or anything behind, or did you just go?
I just went.
You just went.
Kalika
Okay.
isn't the best with words.
Okay, so when I said that bit earlier about, oh God, how horrible it is when family members just disappear without a trace, and like, and Kalyuka's just sinking into her. Okay, so you arrive, you round the corner, and you can see your house. You immediately lock eyes with your mother, who is out in the garden tending some flowers, and she looks at you and she's taken aback for a moment. It's clear that your brother has not spoken to her yet, because she is in pure shock when she sees you, and she's sort of kneeling down, kind of weeding out the garden, as she looks at you, and she kind of drops her trowel, stands very, very slowly, and then she kind of just runs to you and sweeps you up in her arms and gives you like the biggest squeeze, and she's like, I can't believe you're here, and hold on to you very tightly.
Because so awkward in this situation where she's like hugging her and laughing, crying, and when and she goes like, "It's a meme," and she's just like so awkwardly, she's like, "Mama, I'm back."
You Mario now?
I just like, what do I say at this moment, sort of way? And she's very awkwardly, and her mom knows her for making bad jokes, and like she like adds on to it, where she kind of just quickly just reaches out and grabs one of the flowers that her mother was tending to and gives it to her. She's like, I got you flowers, Mama.
She's crying, and she kind of laughs, and she says, "Oh, I've missed your jokes," and then she kind of takes a moment to try to collect herself, and wipes her eyes, and she kind of looks past you, and she's like, "Oh, these are your friends? These are the people that came in earlier. I didn't see you, but wait, were you with them?"
The one with the bagpipes as a face, that was me.
Oh, I should have realized with the bagpipes. Of course, I'll be honest, it's painful to kind of look at. Anyway, come in, all of you come in, and she kind of invites all of you in, and it's not a large home, it's a comfortable, it's very cozy, very family oriented. The moment she walks in, little Kay and Ken, they see you and they just screech your name as loudly as possible at the top of their voices, and they come running over to you, grab you, they hold on tight, they burst into tears, they tell you how much they missed you, and your mother gently sort of she lets the moment happen, but then she's like, Ken, maybe you should go upstairs and play for a moment, and we can talk properly with Kalyuka a bit later. I need to discuss some things with your sister, okay?
Yeah, she's just like Kalika's desperately looking after the twins, like the one joyful elements left the room now. And she looks at the others and just kind of like laughs awkwardly, like, ha ha ha, this is where it starts getting hard.
And she sits down and she takes a moment and she says, your father is due back any minute. We've really missed you. I need you to know that, first of all. I don't know how he will be. He's missed you every day. He's been desperate to find you. If you'd known the things that we'd done to try to find you, we thought you were in danger. We didn't know what we thought. And now at this point, the kind of initial oh, I'm so glad to have you back is being replaced with that, hey, you know, you just left and didn't leave any, like, how could you do that to us? It's a very, and she's trying to, because there's an element, I think, that she's trying not to frighten you away again. She feels like you're a little unpredictable, but she's trying to make it clear, as she kind of talks to you, the consequences of your leaving, and the fact that, you know, how hard it's been, first of all, to manage your younger brother and sister who are asking where you are every single day. The fact that she herself has had to try to be strong. Your father was furious and he was terrified at the same time, and how difficult that has been, because your father is, you know, when he's emotional, he doesn't hide it. He lets everyone know about it. And that's hard. That was hard for your mother. And really trying to get across to you without sounding very angry, how difficult it's been for them. How do you think Kalyuka would respond to that?
I think she would definitely hang her head in shame at points where she felt like her mother was kind of trying to discipline her. She kind of raises her head a little challengingly, but, you know, stops herself, especially when seeing all her friends sitting there, and she realizes that she can't, you know, speak back to her mother like a stubborn child. And as much as she wanted to run away, as much as she did, and didn't say anything, she does realize that even if it meant following her dreams, you know, maybe she shouldn't have let them worry so much. And definitely she feels terrible about it. And she does look at her mom and she's like, I'm sorry, Mama, like, I know what I did was terrible, and especially because I just saw someone else almost lose their beloved, you know, their mom. And I look at Onyx and I'm just like, and I can't imagine having put you in that same position. I can't imagine having made you feel that way. And I'm sorry, I'm not a child. I want you to be able to see me as a grown-up. I want you to be able to see me as others do, as even those that we worship think that I'm worthy of. And I think, unlike other times where I tell you, you know, can you talk to Papa, get him to kind of say yes, I do realize I need to talk to him myself. And I want to show him of my wonderful friends. I want to show them Callista, who's so close to God. And she can tell you exactly what's going to happen. And you wouldn't believe this. She knows how to pick a lock so well. It's amazing. It's fantastic. I'm not trying to scare anyone here, but if we ever get something jammed, she'd get us out of it. And then you got Onyx, and Onyx, and don't let Kirobo, my elder brother, and I tell them, my elder brother, don't let him hear this, but Onyx is so strong and she could take him down in just one swipe. And you see those shadows, you'd never know, but Ava could be there.
You'd never know, but Eva's
there.
in there right now.
Yeah, and Eva's just there, and you'd never know. She just comes from one corner to the other, and oh my God, Astrea knows everything. You could ask her anything in the world, and she'd be able to tell you. And they're the ones I'm with now. They're the ones teaching me to do so many more things. You know what I did? I fought spiders in a cave. It was dark. There was no light. I did it, but all with their help.
And as you're talking, you're getting really animated and into this story, and you're really telling exactly all the things you've done, and talking about how you're a woman now. You're not a child anymore. As much as you're sorry for leaving and worrying them, you want to be respected as such, and to, have your own ambitions listened to. And your mother is kind of listening, and she seems when you say she seems sad, but understanding of what you're saying. The rest of you will all notice as two more Goliaths behind Kaliuka, who has not noticed this, enter the room, and it is Kaliuka's older brother and her father. Her older brother takes one look at Kaliuka, the mother takes another look at his father, and just nopes out of the situation, and just heads up the stairs to go and find. But it seems as if, having seen you in the crowd, he, instead of rushing home, he actually went to go and find his father first, because he potentially knew of an outburst of a reaction, and he didn't want that kind of, he is kind of borne the brunt of that so that it wouldn't be brought home. And so your father has arrived home, is not surprised to see you, and is sort of leaning in against the doorframe, listening to your passion tirade about how wonderful your friends are and how much you found adventure.
I'll kind of elbow her in the side.
And all of you are just sitting there listening and just
So, Eva's gonna prepare mage hands so that when she eventually turns around, little mage hands are gonna appear behind Kaliuka and be like, surprise.
Also, at the point when Kaliuka says that Onyx could take the brother, that's the only point when Onyx reacts, and she kind of looks at the brother and is like,
and this is the thing, because you've met these Goliaths before, Onyx, so you kind of, the brother and the father especially, and they kind of look at you, and there's a moment of recognition, just like, oh, it's you. And then
it's like
she says, hey, you can take me down with one swing, and then just that moment of you feel that challenge kind of ignite within them, and then they're like, wait, we're back to serious things.
Yeah. It's like a respectful.
Go on.
Oh, thing. It's like the look conveys a respectful, but it's still like, you want to go?
Yeah, you want to go? You want to go? Let's go.
You want to try it out?
Then your father from
and
behind
actually,
you. Yeah, go on.
The minute Callista's been just kind of standing back and watching all this, but as soon as she notices that the father has come in, she's going to cast Detect Thoughts on the father, and just kind of, because he's going to say one thing, but she wants to see what he's actually thinking. Sorry, Kat. Not sorry.
So no, that's fine. So are we just going for initial like surface thoughts, or you want to probe deeper?
She'll see if she wants to tell if she's expecting there to be an outburst of anger. She wants to see if what he's actually thinking matches that. So that she can hopefully reassure Kaliuka later. So she will probe if she needs to.
Okay. I mean, he's not a person that really tries to hide his thoughts. He's very he's a bit of an open book. You can probably see what most of what he's thinking from his face. He's trying to be stone faced, but it's certain things that she's saying that he's like, and you can feel like the bubbling when you read his thoughts. It's not an outburst of anger that you come up against, or defensiveness, or anything like that, which is maybe what you're expecting. Some kind of just like, well, she's wrong, and she's my little girl, and I should be able to say what she's, and all of those kind of argumentative. It is more you are hit with a very profound shock and sadness that it is so clear to him in this moment how stifled she has felt. And it's not a case of like there's going to be an outburst of anger, and he, that those things of just like he does still feel angry, he does still feel and frustrated that the two lines of thinking are not matching up. But watching her so animated in this conversation, you feel this very profound feeling of like he has never seen that level of like freedom to feel that she can speak her mind, and it is hitting him very hard that she is she respects his approval to the point of being frightened that she won't get it, and that is hard for him to take. So he's kind of leaning against the door, and he's kind of processing this idea that he has in sort of inflicted his own viewpoint to the point that she feels that stifled, that she needs to like run out and gasp for air rather than can just talk to him about it. And that's a really hard thing for him to realize. I think is the main sort of surface thought that you'd be getting. And it is at that point that he kind of not really sure how to start it. Your mother has probably clearly seen him come in and is still listening. And then he kind of clears his throat behind you, Kaliuka. And he says, so you've decided to return?
Yes.
Then?
It's nice to see you again, Papa.
It's nice to see you too. We were really worried, actually, about you.
I'm sorry for stealing the shield.
No, that's not. I don't care about the shield. I don't care about the shield. And he kind of comes towards you and awkwardly proffers like a hug.
I met Eros and just like patting him. He's half a horse.
He's half. Yes, he's a centaur god. We knew that, Kaliuka. We knew that.
I met a spider woman as well.
He kind of like pulls back, and he's got you by the arms, and he's just kind of looking, and then he puts his hand on your face, as if he can barely believe that you're like there in front of him, and he's just like, I have imagined what I would say to you if you came home, and how much I would tell you how angry, how heartbroken we were that you didn't even think you could leave some kind of note to tell us where you were going or what your plans were or anything. But I am sorry. I'm sorry if you felt stifled here. That was never my intention. And you are very talented at your bagpipe playing. You are. I just I had a dream. I had a dream, and I didn't realize that I was telling you that you couldn't pursue your own dreams. He tells you that and over the course of the evening, you kind of get that he really struggled with your disappearance to begin with, and the initial anger and terror. Like, he was running to the guards. He was the first to get there, asking them if they'd seen you. Eventually he got it out of some poor weedy little guard who was terrified of this giant Goliath yelling at him, that he had been on watch and he had seen you leave the city, and then it became like, well, she's not even in the city. We don't know what's happened. He's been on search parties. He's been out there trying to find you with absolutely no luck whatsoever. And then it got to a point where they never stopped looking, but it became less and less. And your mother kind of calmed him into this: if she is still out there, she will come back to us if she wants to. And it was hard for him to deal with. So he went to more recently, in the last few days, he went to go and speak. He journeyed up a mountain, made a sort of pilgrimage, as it were, to the Flame Speakers, which are a sort of prophetic sect in the mountains. They are specifically dedicated to Perforos, and they live in the mountains, and they are his oracles, essentially. And the answer that he got back was that you had done something special. The gods had plans for you, and that Perforos would be displeased were those plans to be I guess stopped by your father or anything. So essentially he kind of got this oh no, she is special, and not just special in a way of like she can go and boss an arena. Like we have plans for her, and you should probably not get in the way of that. And that's been something that he has been kind of dealing with. Is there anything else that you feel? I feel like we can kind of move it into sort of the evening comes. You can.
Yeah, as the evening sets, I guess what I do is, as we're all getting ready for dinner, and the twins come down, my older brother comes down, and we have this whole like feast kind of laid out, and everyone's sitting. I'm just going to introduce Caillou to the twins and let them play with
They
her.
love Caillou, obviously.
And I'm going to play a song, I think, about togetherness, something that's quite reminiscent to my family. So I get to share it with my friends as well. And I think that would be how we settle into the night, and how that bit ends.
And do you feel like you would tell your family that you are off on a whirlwind adventure? Do you tell them where you're going?
I do, and I say that at any port that I can, I will attempt to send them a letter back, or at least news with someone close by, in town at least, so that they know that I'm well, they know that I'm safe, and especially to know of any great performances I do overseas.
And I think I'll kind of just finish off the evening, I guess, with maybe a moment, because you haven't really had a moment to catch up with your older brother. he is often very much in his father's shadow, very quiet, but very much living up to that legacy, which you are fighting to break away from.
I think I would honestly, I would probably, just for the way that we are around each other, not, we don't really talk about our feelings too much, but I'd kind of like punch him in the shoulder and be like, I missed you. And when he grunts, I'd be like, but I have a friend who could beat you in a fight. In a very provocative way.
He kind of looks at you and he goes, yeah, we'll see. And he kind of looks up at Onyx, and then looks back at you. And he goes, so I was doing some listen, don't take this as approval, okay, of your
okay, as if I'd ever want your approval.
chosen path, but I was doing some I just felt like if you ever decide to come back, it's my role to try to help smooth some of the tension. So I was trying to find something that might help you and Dad kind of see eye to eye. And Dad loves adventures, big quests and all of that. He loves reading about them. So anyway, I found a book about it was a kind of about some magical bagpipes. And the Sampuna, it's called. It's like I don't know. It was made by Perforus and it's hidden somewhere. But get this. It's in the Dakra Isles somewhere, allegedly, supposedly.
Oh.
So the stories say. So, I don't know, maybe while you're out there, see if you can find it, and then I'll be impressed.
Oh, that would be very, very exciting. And you see, as soon as I come back, you'd probably have to buy a ticket to stand at my performance, because the whole town's going to be there, and I don't know whether there would be space for you, but
Yeah.
kind of cool, but you could never beat Onyx, so like we'll see about it. If you get strong enough at some point, we'll see.
When I kick your friend's ass, I'll expect an apology. And he just kind of like slouches off.
I lean over to Callista and I just go, boom.
Cool. We will move on because I'm quite aware of time. We will move on to Eva and Callista. They wanted to go and see Jericho. Callista, you have a good idea of where Jericho is based. Eva, you did not, because you kind of only met him in a designated meeting place. But Callista, you would know where to go and what to do.
Yeah, so I imagine, Eva kind of starts off and doesn't know where to go. And so Callista's like, no, come, I got it. Come on, it's this way.
And Eva's going to offer up a hand to like hold hands and go off in that direction.
So the two of you scurry, and you come to this hiding place, and after a series of just like special knocks and passwords and all of the usual thieves guild nonsense, you would notice as you kind of walk past a moment that like you're used to having like this going and finding special places, there's passwords, there's like special codes, ways to get in. Everyone that you agree with is always very stony faced, very like, yeah, you said the right password, I'll let you in. But all of them, when Callista arrives, she'll like knock nervously 3 times, and then they'll kind of like open the pass. Oh, Callista, you're back. And they're just let her in with absolutely no, like, the security.
Eva is look in a little bit of awe at this. Yeah. Like, what don't I know?
Jericho will be back. Yeah, come. And they just kind of let you in. They kind of pull you through these passages. They're kind of looking a little bit at Eva, and they're like, but the general vibe is anyone who's all right by Callista is all right by us. and they kind of lead you through. They knock on what is sort of Jericho's office. You would know well, Callista. And they open the door. They don't even wait for an answer. They just open the door and they say, "Oh, hey, boss, someone's here to see you." And Jericho, who is sort of sitting at a desk, he's kind of writing something on a parchment. Looks exactly the same as you remember him. It's this sort of like roguish but very smart sort of sense of dress. He's got a big black bushy mane that's kind of like pulled back with a couple of sort of braids hanging down, and this beautiful kind of like golden eyeliner with in various sort of swirls and patterns along his fur. And he looks up and he sees Callista and smiles. And then he sees Eva and he goes, well, 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 a little bird and a little fish come to see a big cat. This doesn't normally end well in most stories. You know that. And he stands up and extends his arm for like a hug.
Yeah, and Callista will just run into his arms and give him a big hug. And she's like almost talking over herself. She's so excited. She's like, oh, and you know, it was so good. I learned so much and you would be so proud of me. I mean, I picked so many locks. I mean, because I always knew I understood the theory of it, and she just goes on and recounts how she feels like she has definitely like learned those rogue skills.
He kind of stops and he's like, hey, you picked a lock? You picked one. And he looks at Eva for
Eva will nod and reiterate, yes, one lock. And
the door was locked.
Well, I'm sure it must have been. I mean, because otherwise, why would I have picked it? I mean, I'm sure. I don't know that I actually checked. No, I'm sure it must have been
little
locked.
Fish. You did so good, and he just like sweeps you up and like spins you around. He's like, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud. I feel like a father. I'm not a father, but I feel like one. And he kind of puts you down. He goes, so. Well, I mean, what brings you back to Akros? So many adventures outside of Akros, which I'm going to be honest, I'm hearing you talk about it. I already know about most of it. I've got my informants. You understand. And he looks at Eva as he says, you understand. But he's like, but, you know, some of what you said surprised me. So there's that.
And Callista she would just tell him, well, I just wanted to come back and thank you. I'm heading back to Miletus. I'm a little nervous about that, but I really wanted to thank you for sheltering me when I first ran away. And I was kind of hoping maybe if it's not too much trouble, maybe you could kind of show me how to pick pockets. I know that's kind of high level. I mean, but you know, I feel like I've mastered picking locks so well. I just, you know, I don't get this opportunity very often. And
what are you going back to Miletus for?
Oh, to get a ship. I'm actually going to get to go out on the ocean. You know how long I've dreamed about that?
And you need a ship?
We have a ship.
You need a crew?
Well, yeah. Yeah, we do. I mean, I've studied how to navigate. I'm sure I could figure it out. I mean, I'm sure I would be perfectly fine at it, but I never actually have navigated before. So yeah, we could use a crew. Do you have one? I
can get you a crew. I can't promise that they'll be the most what's the word? You know, they might not be approved by officials, you understand, but they know their way around a boat. They know their way around a weapon if needs be. And let me tell you, the Siren Sea is a dangerous place. Plenty of pirates out there. You'll need someone who can speak pirate speak.
Ooh, I need to learn pirate speak. We would really appreciate.
Interested in this new
pirate speak is basically common with a few, you know, like shiver me timbers, all of that. But if they feel like you know their language, then you're already in with a win. That's what I've learned about pirates. I'd come with you myself, but the rumors about cats and water, all true. Hate water. I won't be going near a ship. I do have someone here though, here in Outcross that could come with you. You, and he looks at Eva, may have met him before. You had a big impact on him. He talks about you a lot.
Eva's gonna look very concerned.
He knows
She's
his
gonna
way
like
around
draw
the weapon.
her hood a little bit and look suspicious.
He knows his way around a weapon. I'm pretty sure that
Okay,
Dion
she
will want to crack at that lady that
yeah.
messed
The
with
moment
mind.
before he said his name, Eva would have put 2 and 2 together, and Theon.
So he basically tells you that he is willing to get a crew together. He'll have it waiting in Miletus for you, and that he is offering. He tells you the story of how Dion, in his path to atonement, went back to Akros. He essentially showed that little symbol that you had drawn on his hand, the little talon, and because of that was led to Jericho and crossed paths with Jericho, who told they kind of talked through exactly what happened. He told the whole story. He spilled his guts, and Jericho gave him a place and a way of kind of doing some jobs and figuring out some atonement, and has been kind of looking after him ever since, and has tried to help him in regaining some of his memories. He has then obviously talked a lot about how maybe if he could see Lady Helene, or if he could kind of be around her, maybe that is the way that he needs to go. And that seems to be where Crufix, in his communication, because he's become now a devout Crufix follower, has kind of been pushing him towards. He needs to confront the thing in order to unravel the mysteries around him. So he is wanting to go to confront Lady Helene, and this is his perfect opportunity if you want to take him with you.
Eva's gonna ask where to find him, so she can go and get him and hand deliver
and
him
you can
to
give
the
that
group.
information. Jericho can definitely give you that information.
Okay.
And how have you been, little bird? You okay?
Eva will kind of reach into her bag and pull like a lockpick out and like motion it towards the door and like a little quizzical eyebrow, and then look over at Callista to the door, to the lock, like,
you don't know how to pick locks?
Little head shake.
Boy, did I make an assumption. I just assumed you got the whole damn look. You got the hood up and the shadows and you're intimidating. You look like just like any of the people that I know that run in my circles, and they can all pick locks. That surprises me that you can't pick locks. But we can teach you that. Sure.
I'd be happy to teach her. I mean, I'm really good at it.
Little fish, don't wear yourself out now. Don't worry. You learn from the master. She's gonna learn from the master too. Okay, you're still a student.
Yes,
but soon, I have faith in you. You'll outdo me. My record is 21,672. So once you've done that many locks, you come to me, and I'll be impressed. Yeah.
Were they all locked?
21,605. Okay, do you know what? Any kind of advice? Is there anything else that you wanted to chat to Jericho about?
Callista just wanted to thank him and show him how good she's doing on her rogue skills.
So Jericho is going to teach you how to pick locks. He's gonna say to you, Callista, he's gonna say, listen, you pickpocketing is it requires a little bit more finesse. It requires a little bit more guts, but I can make sure that there's someone on your crew that will be a master pickpocketer, and they will teach you. I got just the kid in mind. Don't you worry.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. I really, I really want to improve all my skills.
Got it. Okay, and he kind of writes some dust down. He's like, consider it done. You'll have a crew waiting for you in Miletus. And that is what Jericho can do for you.
Eva will probably request like a couple of minutes alone with Jericho if Callista is like willing to wait outside. And she's going to in turn share some of her secrets that she's gathered in the last little bit, along the lines of, some things that Krupix might be pushing towards. She's gonna, as usual, leave it very kind of like general, open-ended information, but some things about how the obsidian claw might be shifting a little bit and sort of where the future is going, as far as not being so self-reliant and more so open and like opening up and helping humanity more instead of helping themselves. So she's going to reiterate how that's where a shift might be coming to the claw, and she doesn't know if that's going to pull parties together, but she's making a shift.
He's gonna listen. He's gonna go, I'm glad to see you're moving past being just a messenger. I feel like you have more than that in you. He's then gonna share that he's noticed a few power dynamics changing within the order. And he's said, you know what? I'm gonna look into it deeper. And if I get more information, I'm gonna tell you. Because I think that there's some problems. There's things I'm noticing, behaviors I'm noticing that are different than before. And I think that if we're not careful, we're going to get away from what the cause is for, and what Krupix wants from us. So I'm gonna keep an ear out, one of my big lion ears out. They're not that big. And I will let you know if I find anything else. You specifically, little bird, because I think you are the future.
Eva, can't blush, but like her feathers are gonna like fluff up just ever so slightly, and then she's gonna go to give his leg like a hug. That's all she can reach.
All right. Okay, so we had a couple of extra moments that we were going to try to get in today. However, I really want to give those RP moments the time that they deserve. So I'm going to say that we will call the session for now because we've got about 5 minutes. And we will get into some stuff. It will give everyone some time to, if they have anything else that they want to address, really have a think about that. If they had anything that they wanted to say that was forgotten today, I'm also happy to hear that. And we will pick up with maybe a little bit of some generic stuff that Onyx was doing, and Astrea wanting to have a conversation with Cassian before leaving. And then we will head straight into kind of our time in Miletus, shall we say. But thank you all so much for being here. I'm going to go around now, and one by one, we're all going to kind of introduce ourselves, talk a little bit about what we do in our socials, where we can be found and everything like that, and then we will head out. So let's start with Lulu. I'm going to go backwards this time.
Okay, I'm Lulu. I've been playing Callista. You can find me on Twitter mainly at Lulu in WA, Lulu in Washington. I stream occasionally, and I make artwork using my minis and my Dwarven Forge. I've just made one for last season, and I've got 2 more planned for the things that happened in this campaign last season. And I just got a very large boat to put our minis on. So I'll be doing some scenes with those as things progress. Although it's not a trireme, so but close enough. And that's me.
Please also tell us about your exciting new position.
Oh yes, I just became the admin assistant on Girls Write These Worlds, so I'll be helping out with all of that, and I'm really excited because it's a behind the scenes kind of thing, which I am definitely more comfortable with, although I'm getting better at being in front of the camera.
You're doing amazingly, as you always have done. Cool. I will then move on to Lindsay.
Hello, everyone. My name's Lindsay. My socials right now, kind of what I do on there. I'm getting back into cosplay after a few years of a hiatus. So I'm starting to do a lot more cosplay stuff, photo shoots. The other thing I do for fun is I do dog shows. I'm going to be a dog breeder eventually for Italian Greyhounds. So I have a lot of photos of my dogs on my social media. And when I'm not doing that, I'm having fun with these wonderful girls here. And I also co-run an anime store in my little town that I live in called Doki Doki. So I keep it busy, keep it nerdy, keep it fun, try to bring some energy where I can. Don't let my quietness on the stream fool you. When I get going, I get going. That's me.
Cool. Thank you so much. Let's move on to Kumi.
Hello, I'm Kumi. You can find me at Kumi Curiosities on Instagram or Twitter. I run a small D&D shop here in India, and it's going pretty well. Been having a lot of fun with it. We're going to be coming up to 1 year in about like 2 or 3 months. I also stream on this other channel called The Pigeon Killers. We have a homebrew campaign running there that started last week, called The Shadow Watch, and I'm playing a pterodactyl paladin essentially. And it's been pretty fun because I have nothing to say, honestly, but I need to essentially emote in sense. So it's been great to fart around the party, is what I can say with that. But that's me, and I play Kalika here, so it's been a lot of fun.
Amazing. Joan, what are you up to, Joan? Anything exciting happening in Joan's life?
She may or may not be alluding to the fact that I am currently growing a tiny human. Expected in August of 2023. Stay tuned for all the pregnant and or baby cosplays.
Yes.
So you can catch me guest hosting occasionally on Three Black Halflings and hanging out around the GRTW Discord server. I was fortunate enough to have an NPC in the first GWTW zine, so definitely check out Zephyr Nightclaw, who, if you've heard of my character Senna, who my username is based on, that is Senna's mommy. I've kind of done something with her so that she can be sort of imported into a bunch of different games, but if you want to learn more about the lore of that character, I'm happy to talk about that anytime. And you can find me on the socials as at the Rogue Senna.
Amazing. And I guess that just leaves us with our beloved Jen.
Hi friends, it's me, it's Jen. Hi, it's me. I'm the wizard with me. I am Jen, otherwise known as at JenBurb on Twitter. I am the Director of Information Technology here at Girls Run These Worlds, aka I do the website and I built the database. Ooh, we're gonna have so much fun.
Ooh.
Anyway, I have been your friendly local, very surprised and disoriented wizard, Estrella, our lovely half-elf wizard. Other than that, there isn't too much going on. I've got a couple of things coming up that I'm going to wait to announce in my actual play life until those are actually scheduled and such. But do check out the Girls Run These Worlds Twitter at Girls Run These Worlds or at Girls Run Worlds, because I am going to be facilitating a game of the Quiet Year which is a GM-less like map building, community building TTRPG. Highly
I
recommend.
applied.
Check it out. Apply for it. And if you're interested, we'll see if we can get you into play. And and this is Cass. He really wanted to say hello. That's it.
This is Cassian.
Jesus.
Estrella turned him into a cat. She was done. She was done with the banter.
She did review Polymorph today. It's true.
She did review that. Okay. I guess that leaves me. I almost literally just completely skipped past myself. Hey, I'm Kat. Also known as the Law Mistress or Law Mistress 93 on pretty much any social media. I am a writer and an editor. But I am also very much trying to embroil myself in the streaming world because I kind of enjoy it. I kind of love it. I'm in the process of trying to set up my own channel. I've had one pretty successful game on there. It was really fun. A couple of these nerds joined me. And I'm really excited to kind of get into that over the course of this year and play more. Because it's going to be great. What else have I done? I am also going to be GMing. So next weekend is going to be very busy for me because not only will I on Sunday be DMing the next session of this, on the Saturday I will be game mastering for an OSR dungeon that appears within our first zine for Girls Write These Worlds. It is written by Fleet Detrick, who is extremely talented and has written an amazing module, and I am going to be taking it and twisting it into a really fun but maybe heartbreaking dungeon. So if the idea of watching a party post TPK trying to fight their way back into life sounds appealing to you in any way, I love the reactions that I got on the camera there, then please join us on Saturday next week. That will be 6 p.m. GMT. I'm sorry, I can only think in GMT right now. And then obviously next week Sunday I will be running Theros. I'm going to be exhausted over the weekend, but it's going to be fine. As well as that, you know what, I think that's it. That's all I'll say for now. I'll catch you up next week if I remember anything else. We are going to be raiding into let me remind myself, Claire after all. So please stick around, support someone else's content, say hi. It's going to be a lot of fun, and thank you once again for joining us, rejoining us for season 2 of Theros.
I'm pretty sure. Hold on one second. I want to confirm something really quick because Claire, after all, is Claire the DM, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So definitely go pop over to that channel because I was just on her channel yesterday. Playing in an all-black cast with Honey and Dice, Orion D. Black, Nora Enigma, and some other awesome people, and we had the most hilarious, blackest, ridiculous game ever, and we raised, I believe, if you include the matching funds, we raised $700 for Brave Space Alliance, which is a black trans and LGBT-led community space in Chicago, and it is Claire's birthday weekend, and she is using it to raise money for this awesome charity. So definitely stick around and check that out because she's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you for the introduction, or outro, I guess. We should head on over there then. So thank you all so much for watching. Catch you next week. Stick around and check out any more of Girls Run These Worlds content that will be on throughout the week. We've got loads of casting stuff coming up. We're really excited. Okay, bye.